Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to you. A beautiful morning to everyone. I don't know where you are on the face of the earth, but I'm just bringing greetings from the city of Abuja. Welcome, everyone, to this live broadcast show. Today is Monday Morning Matters. Thank you for hooking up with us. We're so glad that you are part of this live broadcast, or if you are watching a rebroadcast, a replay, please, be blessed with it. I'm Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. And so I'm a lead consultant with Magnicraft Consulting, and also a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting. A big thank you to everyone who has been sharing our content out, liking, commenting, doing all kinds of referrals, tagging and things like that, sharing our content. We say thank you. We thank you for your feedbacks. In fact, some criticism, we thank you for your feedbacks. We are trying to improve and make sure that we bring good quality to you. And so we've been talking on kickstarting church revitalization. And church revitalization is so important for us today because of the pandemic. The pandemic has made a lot of demands on us as church leaders, as pastors, as lead pastors, general overseers. You can attest to the fact that there was a lot of demand in terms of pastoral care, in terms of all kinds of emergency plans. We need to make sure that as much as we give out, we are actually taking in. Okay, one of the things that gets us into trouble is when we keep giving out and giving out and giving out to a point whereby we are not replenishing. And that's the essence for kickstarting church revitalization. Your church should always on a mode of church revitalization. And in the beginning of this episode in early June, we talked specifically on the person involved in church revitalization. There are about 5 things that we are going to talk in the whole thing. There's so much to say. The person, the process, the priorities, and how you do prepare, and your prayers. Okay, the person, we dealt with it in the first 2-3 episodes of this thing. How can we make sure that the person who is kickstarting this revitalization is actually equipped, is actually having all that it takes to actually have a successful church revitalization? And so we make us also clear that when there's a decline in where we show the Bellevue, what's a decline, there's a decline, a dropout. Okay, we can attest to the fact that our frequency of attending churches has reduced. Okay, and it is very dangerous when you are trying to use whatever comes out from your pulpit to disciple people. Okay, because people are no longer coming regularly. And I can remember I did some series on digital discipleship, because people spend more in their smartphone than even in church. If you calculate the week, the days of the week, you'll be shocked at the number of days people spend on their phones. And so we should be able to usurp that privilege to see how we can influence this generation to disciple them, because the goal of the church is to make mature disciples. And so when we talked about the Bellevue, we talked about you going back to the mission, going back to the vision. Okay, so as you are faced with challenges in your church, let's see how you can go back to the vision. Why do you exist? Are you doing what you're doing? What is the essence, or what is the end result of what you are doing? And so the second one I'm going to say is church health assessment. What will help you to do to carry out a proper decision-making metrics? You have to do it when you have actually done some diagnosis. Church health assessment. That's also what will help you in strategy planning. Okay, group thinking sessions where you can be able to put all the data and the indices, the metrics on the table, and begin to find yourself away from where you are right now to the place God wants you it to be. Now, one of the things that can help you kickstart church revitalization is also making sure that your discipleship pathway is effective and efficient. We did a survey of almost 600 pastors, and we found out that the weak point of some of these church frameworks, church framework. There's a church framework I use to diagnose churches. The top side is the spiritual side, is a church health side. The 6 of them: prayer, ministry, evangelism, discipleship, fellowship, and worship. That's the spiritual side of the church. And you know that a man cannot just survive with just the spirit. The downside, which is the soul side, the structure side, resources, onboarding, which is also assimilation, outreach, leader, structure, strategy is also in place. And so we need to make sure that the main thing that the church is existing for, which is discipleship and evangelism, is actually very efficient. In fact, I can tell you that there's no silver bullet to seeing how church revitalization can occur. But then, when you walk on the discipleship path, that's when somebody gives his life to Christ. What happens from when he gives his life to Christ to the point whereby he's going to be a matured disciple. So also we need to focus on externally. Stop being one of the things why churches are so downward and declining in distress, in dropout rate, is because they are focusing on themselves. There's that inward focusedness. We need to focus externally to the community. Your church should not exist in isolation. It should not exist in isolation. We should always think of how to go into the world, because that's going into the world is what will kickstart that church revitalization that you need. Now, when we now get into look into because there's a way you have your focus on the community, focus externally to the community. Focus externally to the community. Now, in nutshell, I'm going to wrap up in another 3 minutes, and then that will be enough for today. Right. So, what is the process like? We've talked so much about the person. What is the process like? One, you have to decide that you need to be revitalized. You have to decide that you need to do certain things that will put you in a path to health. You need to decide that there are some things that you are doing that is bringing unhealthy results, unhealthy practices, unhealthy states to the church. You need to find ways to stop it. For example, you have been exposed to carbon monoxide. You have been exposed to practices you're not doing gospel conversations every week. You're not going on evangelism. You're not having some good invitational culture, bringing people to church. You're not finding ways to disciple people. I was telling a friend that, you see, most churches know how much they have in their account, but they don't know how many disciples they are making per time. They don't know how many disciples they are maturing per time. And that is the essence of the church. We need to decide that yes, we need to make a forward progress towards achieving health. The second one is assessment, which I mentioned, and maybe next week I'm going to talk on the benefit of church health assessment. Because if you don't know what is wrong, you will be repeating what is wrong. If you don't know what is wrong, you will not know what to do to fix what is wrong. What is wrong will always be wrong until it is corrected. What is wrong will always bring you down until something is done to bring about righting the wrong. So the essence of assessment is to diagnose what areas are your strengths, what areas are your weaknesses, what areas are the threats to your church. Because the truth about it is that your church will not, your local church is not meant to live forever. It's a universal church. Your church can die. There's certain things that you do that can make your church not to exist anymore. And so we, as a certified church consultant, we help to diagnose churches, help you to be objective in seeing things that you have overlooked over time, and then those things that you have overlooked over time is actually deteriorating the church health status of that congregation. And so when we do the assessment, we begin to identify areas that we need to strengthen them more, identify areas that are weak that we need to also work on. Because the truth about it is that you can be strong in something as a church, but if you don't work on the weaknesses of the church, those weak points can bring about weaknesses in the strength that is occurring in your church. And so identification is very important. And as a church consultant, I always want to help to identify your strength, identify your weaknesses, opportunities for growth, opportunities, restructuring, opportunities, through a strategic planning sessions, and that will help your church to move. Then 4, vision development. How do you now begin to make sure that what you are envisioning is actually aligning with the plans to move your church forward towards health? Adjustments along the way. Okay, you need to make sure that you are doing your exercise, you're taking good food, you're doing some things that will make sure that your church is actually getting towards health. And then also compliance and implementation, because the truth about it is that you can know what to do to correct the wrong that is going on in your church, but then if you do not do them, the result of doing them will not be your portion, because there's only blessings in doing what God has called you to do. There's no blessings in you knowing certain things. There's blessings in carrying out these things in practice to bring about health in your church. I want to just stop here, and then we're going to but I want to give a round of notes. The church should not be focused solely on changing the world. Okay, the church changes the world not by having church attendance. Okay, the fact that your church is 100,000, 10,000 does not mean you have changed the world. Okay, the church changes the world not by having church attendance or making converts even. Okay, they are very important. Making convert is very, very important, but it's by making mature disciples. And until we find out a dashboard that will help us to measure this critical indicator to show how many disciples we are making, how many disciples we are maturing, and how many disciples is also making and maturing other disciples. Okay, and so that's church revitalization for you. We need to find out a way at which the churches will survive despite we have gone through the hard hit by the pandemic. And so I want to wrap it up here. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessment, trainings, and strategic blueprints. And so we help churches. I love to talk with pastors. If you can get me in the midst of pastors, I love to interact with them. I love to help them. The pastors are really endangered. In fact, in the forum, we were talking about pastor shortage because people are not seeing it as a higher calling anymore. People are not ambitious about being a pastor anymore. We have more people going into seminaries these days, but they're not coming out to stay into the calling to fulfill the calling in leading churches and managing churches. We need to see how we can encourage our pastors. Your super chats, your givings can help in helping us as consultants to reach out to smaller churches who cannot afford a church consultant to see how they can thrive. My desire is that churches should not close because of whatever the pandemic has thrown at the church. And so we love to help churches. If you have any question, please feel free to go on the social media. That's my contact on WhatsApp. Let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can answer your questions. You have any questions, please get out to me, and I will surely get back to you and see how we can help your church move forward. All right. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. You have any comment, please drop down your comment. If this video has been helpful to you, please, I love to hear from you. I love to learn from you. Learning us sometimes can be very, very beneficial when it's mutual. I love to learn from you. So please drop a comment from me on the comment section. I will surely respond. I respond to all my comments. I want my community to be very engaging so that we can have this information flow back and forth in the communities that we have on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter. Please feel free to put on the notification bell so that when we come live or upload a new video, you will surely be informed. So thank you till I come your way next week Monday. But on Thursday, we're going to come with a question of the week that will help you greatly as a church. So thank you so much. Till I see you next week Monday. God bless you.